Hello my fashion lovers, I'm super excited to be finally back with a new video. So the Real Housewives of Lagos has been airing for a while now, and I promise to keep you guys updated on my thoughts on the show. Although the earlier episodes of this season were quite boring, we're finally getting a bit of drama. The ladies have been serving us premium drama both on Instagram and on the show. We've literally seen Laura versus Miriam, Dabota versus Sophia, Dabota versus Carolyn versus Diiadem. In today's video, let's discuss all the interesting things that has happened so far, and I'll be sharing my thoughts on them. So starting with Miriam and Laura, so basically what caused their own fights was the fact that we were both referencing the last season. So I believe Laura said something to Miriam about Faith calling her jacket cheap, which happened in the last season. And I believe Laura did not say this from a malicious or bitter place. She just said it jokingly, but Miriam did not take that well. Miriam went ahead to address it in her confessions and talked about the time Carolyn called Laura a prostitute. If you remember from season 1, the famous "you were brought to be pimp" drama between Carolyn and Laura. So for more context, for those who did not watch the first season, in the first season, Carolyn insinuated that Laura was pimped to a governor. And obviously, this got Laura really angry, and she and Carolyn had this really messy altercation.
You were brought to be pimped to the man. God will punish you. And you too, and you will die on time. And you too, and you die on time.
Nobody should offend Caro. Caro is a devil. Nobody should offend Caro. If you offend Caro, Caroline will destroy your life.
Looking back, I feel season 1 was the best season, and I really miss season 1. Anyway, fast forward to season 3, Mariam brought up this prostitution issue again, and Laura addressed it on her Instagram page. So she was basically saying she has had to work hard for her money, and Mariam cannot relate because Mariam had to marry a wealthy man to attain her wealth. I feel Mariam constantly accuses people of being a prostitute, and it's quite embarrassing. She accused Faith of being a prostitute, did the same thing with Chioma, and now Laura. I feel there are other subtle things she could have said because prostitution is so extreme. Anyway, Laura on her own was not really innocent because while you razzle, expect the other person to dazzle. If you bring up something from the past, she might as well do the same. Anyway, their own fight was quite boring, so let's move to something more interesting between Dabota versus Sophia. So I feel the producers of the show added Sophia for the sake of drama. As I said earlier, the earlier episodes were quite boring, so I felt they brought Sophia to spice things up because she's quite controversial. So Sophia got introduced to the group at Carolyn's event, although Dabota was not there. And when Sophia got to the watch party, I noticed there was something off between her and Diiadem, like they've had a bad encounter in the past. Even in their confessions, they were throwing indirect shades at each other, and I could tell that these ladies do not like each other. From Sophia claiming she doesn't know Diiadem and doesn't roll in the same circle with Diiadem, to Diiadem insinuating that all she knows about Sophia is the fact that Sophia is Imadi's mom. Anyway, they did not really show themselves at Carolyn's event, but that was not the case at Dabota's event. So Dabota decided to host the ladies in a resort, and you know when you gather these ladies in a resort, drama is inevitable. The drama even started before they got to the resort, so let's unpack and I'll be sharing who I think is at fault. So I believe they all agreed to go together in a boat which Dabota rented for the day. And mind you, the boat was supposed to be a part of the experience and not just a means of transportation. So they were all supposed to gather and sail together and party and have fun on the boat while going to the beach house. I believe that's what Dabota had in mind. But when Carolyn extended the invite to Sophia insisted they both go together since they are both based in Banana and can easily access the beach. I totally understood Sophia's point and where she's coming from. I mean, she has her own private boat, so accessing the beach with her own private boat would be easier. But Carolyn, on the other hand, should have explained to her that Dabota already rented a boat and would love for all of them to sail together. And even if she was not going to sail with Dabota, she should have explained to her earlier that she was going to come with Sophia. I mean, it's a very sensible excuse, and I believe Dabota would have understood, but Carolyn failed to do that. Anyway, when the day of their departure arrived, Diiadem was the first person to arrive, and Diiadem's, punctuality is very impressive. I love how she sticks to time. It shows she's a serious businesswoman and understands the importance of time. Anyway, after Diiadem and Dabota waited for a while, they got irritated and started calling the other ladies ladies to know what's up. So for Mariam, she claimed she had family emergencies or family issues that she was attending to, so she could not make it on time. Carolyn, on the other hand, said she was running late as well, but was going to join them soon. So I don't get why Carolyn did not just tell them that she was coming with Sophia instead of keeping them waiting. But she later called them back and explained that she was going to come with Sophia, and Diiadem and Dabota left kind of angrily, which is quite justified. Like, it's one thing to keep them waiting while giving them false hope, but now Dabota's money has been wasted as well, because she could have easily gotten a smaller boat. And they've also killed their expectations, because I'm sure they were expecting a more interesting trip with all the ladies. Anyway, Dabota shared a couple of screenshots on IG yesterday of she and Carolyn's WhatsApp messages. So she was basically insinuating that Carolyn kept gaslighting them to think she was going to join them despite knowing she was going to sail with Sophia. She also accused Carolyn of sharing half-baked screenshots to bloggers, as well as constantly complaining, discrediting her efforts, gossiping bitterly, and picking a fight with her friend Diiadem. She also posted this stuff about Carolyn following the same old script she followed in season 1. So according to her, Carolyn makes friends and it's all lovey-dovey at the beginning, but once they have a slight issue, she blows things out of proportion, and then later leak the person's secrets and play the victim card, and also blame the producers of the show for putting out false narratives, but then later apologize and act innocent. So according to Dabota, Toyin, Chioma, Iyabo, Laura, and Mariam were all victims of Carolyn's script. So she posted all this in response to Carolyn, because Carolyn shared the screenshots earlier, claiming that Dabota did not reach out to her personally to inform her. So in my opinion, this bunch of screenshots Dabota shared did not discredit what Carolyn said. She posted all this and wrote all this, but did not post exactly where she invited Carolyn herself. It's like the producers invited all the ladies and not Dabota herself, because we know Dabota did not invite Laura, but Laura already packed her suitcase and was ready to come until she had a family emergency. Anyway, speaking of Dabota and Laura, I sincerely do not understand what's happening between them. So according to Dabota, she said she feels some sort of way about Laura because of what Laura's sister Linda wrote about her on her blog. But same Dabota herself said she's willing to know Laura and not judge Laura based on her issues with Linda. But if you've been watching the show, you'd know that's a lie. Dabota Crystal clearly doesn't like Laura and she does not hide it. I mean, we all saw how nasty she tried painting Laura to Carolyn when she invited Carolyn to her house for something that barely concerned her. And even when she was calling the other ladies to confirm if they were still going to join her at the jetty, she did not call Laura. Anyway, when they got to the beach house, Madam Dabota decided to switch the rooms that were appointed for the ladies. So she was acting pissed, which is justifiable, but giving Sophia the worst room made no sense. So giving Sophia the worst room only insinuated that she was mad at Sophia, which is weird. Like, she clearly stated that she did not invite Sophia herself, so why was she more mad at Sophia than the other ladies that understood and did not follow the itinerary? And when she was switching the rooms, she sounded very bitter, saying since Sophia can afford a boat, she might as well afford her own beach house. If she had done this with a different perspective, I would have understood better. And I've seen some people arguing online that she did that because she knows Sophia the least and doesn't really care for Sophia, but that's a horrible lie. Dabota herself clearly insinuated that she did that to get back at Sophia for not sticking to the itinerary, and Diiadem was in full support. I think Diiadem was even the one that said she can as well get her own beach house, and a part of me feels like Diiadem and Sophia do have a problem, or perhaps Dabota has issues with Sophia outside the show. I strongly feel one of the both ladies have a problem with Sophia outside the show and the other person is just supporting her friend, or Dabota felt Sophia was the easiest person to use as a scapegoat for not sticking to the itinerary. Whatever the case was, what she did was wrong. And Diiadem constantly saying Dabota is my girl, I support her, Dabota you're always right, oh deserve her, and all this rubbish she was saying was so embarrassing to watch. I feel there's a thin line between being a puppet and a loyal friend, and Diiadem was giving puppets. Anyway, when Sophia, Carolyn, and Mariam joined them at the beach house, the drama escalated. So Sophia instantly complained about her room. The first thing she said was, I hate my room, which I felt was quite strong. She could have said that in a more subtle way. But according to her, the room was actually trash and she was not exaggerating. She listed a bunch of things. Firstly, the room was infested with bugs and roaches, and then the AC was not working, and most importantly, the view was trash. Like, this was basically Sophia's view in a beach house while the other ladies were facing the beach. Anyway, regardless, I feel Sophia should have complained about this in a more subtle way, mostly because she just met Dabota. So they all went down to Dabota's bonfire at the beach house and finally addressed the boat issue. So I sincerely could not fathom why Dabota was facing Sophia concerning this issue. Sophia owes her no form of explanation. Firstly, they're not even friends, and Dabota did not invite her directly. Dabota should have channeled that energy towards Mariam and Carolyn, but probably she did not have the audacity. However, Sophia explained to Dabota that she did not know it was compulsory, that they all had to go through the jetty in Lekki Phase 1. She probably thought it was optional, so she decided to go through her own jetty in her own private boat. Obviously, that was more convenient for her instead of going down to Lekki Phase 1 to join the ladies. Dabota should have faced Carolyn and Mariam and expressed how bad she felt. Her feelings were totally valid, and I'm sure Carolyn and Mariam would have easily apologized and the whole thing would have been squashed. But in typical Dabota style, she wanted drama and not an apology, so she said nothing to them there. I feel Dabota is obsessed with drama and loves being the center of attention, and that's so pathetic. Even all this her wannabe Faith Murray mannerism she displays, I feel it's because Faith was the center of attention last season, and Dabota desperately wants to be the Faith Murray of this season, but it's not working for her at all. Anyway, back to the bonfire. Something interesting happened between Diadem and Sophia. So I believe Miriam and Sophia were having like a little banter, nothing serious, and Diadem jokingly said to Sophia, "I'm with you, I have your back," but Sophia's response was quite cold.
Sophia, go on.
I don't know what you're saying, girl.
Okay, what I'm saying is, go on. I'm behind you.
I don't like to be touched, especially if I don't know you. And she's touching me, so I'm pulling away because I like my personal space.
Right on.
Me, I'm a one-man mopo. I don't need anybody.
Okay. Sorry, it's not that cheap. I'm just joking.
So I understand what Sophia was saying. I know certain people do not like being touched, but I feel Sophia needs to understand that being overly blunt can hurt people's emotions, and I felt really bad for Diadem, yeah. So after the bonfire, Carolyn and Mariam talked about how they felt Diadem was giving them an attitude at the bonfire because they came late. So I don't get why they were so bothered about Diadem squeezing her face at the bonfire. Firstly, Diadem is not the host, so if she decides to squeeze her face, I don't feel that should bother them. And secondly, there could be other reasons why she was squeezing her face, which might not be about them. Anyway, Diadem later addressed this on Instagram and claimed she had personal issues she was dealing with at the time. Anyway, later that evening, Carolyn later confronted Diadem about the attitude issue. So while they were addressing it, Mariam could barely repeat all the things she said to Carolyn after shaking her mouth while she was alone with Carolyn. So while they were having this conversation, Diadem's body language was quite rude and Carolyn called her out instantly.
To be frank with you, I had gotten to see Dabota 2 hours before we called you. We thought you were coming.
Then why didn't you ask
eventually
me?
didn't show up.
What makes you think I actually did not know?
Wait, chill. Why didn't I ask you how?
Don't do that. Wait, chill.
Don't do that. What was that? We're having a conversation.
Throwing hands and saying chill and sitting up and all that. When you want to have a conversation with me, don't start doing your hands like
How
that.
am I doing my hands? We're having a conversation. You're also using your hands. You're making hands gesture as well.
Because I'm trying to correct you.
You're doing the same thing
Because
I'm
you're doing this, I'm trying to correct you.
Correct me
So don't do
how?
that. Put your hands
Am I
down
a kid?
and you speak to me.
So I felt Diadem was actually quite rude, yeah, and her body language was giving, "Madam, shut up first, let me speak." Anyway, Sophia later joined them, and shortly after, she and Dabota started their own drama. So Dabota asked Sophia how she felt about her room, and Sophia explained how bad the room was, and then Dabota called her a secondary guest, like that was supposed to explain why the room was that bad. Dabota clearly knew that Sophia was not Carolyn's plus one. I'm sure the producers told her that Sophia was joining the group, and even if Sophia was a secondary guest, giving her a room infested with bugs was still something she should have apologized for. But obviously, Dabota just wanted to sound shady, but she tried it with the wrong person. So while they were having this altercation, the issue of the boats came up again, and Sophia took this opportunity to really flex her boat, and I guess this one pained Dabota. Dabota went ahead to call Sophia uncultured for complaining about her room and made lots of degrading comments. But I guess Sophia understood that the only way she could really get to Dabota was by flexing her lifestyle and mentioning that boat, so she just kept mentioning the boats.
The lifestyle cost that you don't know. Hey, that you don't know. Person will get boats, get boats. Person will get jetty. You know, being so angry about it doesn't change the fact that I am the definition of soft life. She has to create it. I don't.
So Diadem tried inserting herself while they were having this altercation. Small nyash, they really shake. Anyway, Sophia was quick to shut her up and put her in her place instantly. Overall, the whole altercation was very messy and the most interesting we've gotten so far. And the altercation exposed how slow Dabota actually is. Majority of what she was saying made no sense and she basically had no points. I feel Dabota loves feeling superior and Sophia made her feel inferior and she could not handle it. The ladies have taken the whole drama online and they've been shading each other online. Anyway, I'm so happy things are beginning to get interesting on the show and I can't wait for next week's episode. Here's a snippet of what we are to expect next week.
Boy, I want to enjoy the gist. Who ruffled your feathers, girl?
You're so lucky you didn't come, Laura, because your room was worse.
Your room was downstairs.
But why?
No view at all. Isha, maybe you were looking at someone's face.
And your room was this small.
Why? I'm not surprised that Dabota gave me the least exciting room. At least she gave me a room downstairs. Me, if it was my trip, I would have probably put Dabota in the toilet or something. What did I do to her?
I don't know. You should ask her.
Anyway, if you are yet to subscribe to my channel, please do not forget to subscribe and also give this video a thumb up. Shout out to all my returning subscribers. Y'all are the absolute best. Bye for now and see y'all in my next video.